I started the organization, Seven Elements, 10 years ago here in Dominican Republic. It was an invitation. I'd made a lecture in front of a couple of high school groups about sustainability and some of the sustainability issues here in Dominican Republic. And the founders of that particular organization invited me to develop a program.
Seven Elements is a service learning and education organization that basically functions by partnering with local communities in our different international locations and then bringing high school and university students down to participate in these service learning activities.
We focus primarily on the development of the students and giving them the proper tool set to become globally engaged citizens. And we do that in addition to helping alleviate a lot of the insecurities in the communities.
There are many different definitions of human security. We adopted the United Nations definition of it, where we look at the intersections of 7 particular elements. We try not to prioritize one over the other. We have a very interesting model here where we would be classified as a service learning program. It really uses a dual development context. We're interested in our behavior and our activities in communities and our responsibilities there, but also very interested in the development of these young global citizens.
Seven Elements chooses the communities that it participates in and does activities in by really just consulting the community, connecting with the Junta de Vecino, which here that just means the leader of the community.
The way we determine what's needed in a community is by using the 7E community diagnostic process. First and foremost is gaining rapport with the community, just kind of showing up and showing our face with the community leaders. After that, we've got a specific set of questions that we have. Then we target focus groups, and then after that, we go to our household survey. That household survey is the most extensive. We randomize it and based on the community size, and then we collect all that, and we have an Excel sheet where we compute the data, and we've got both quantitative and qualitative answers, and at the end of that, we're able to compile it and say, hey, this is what we found. These are the insecurities we found, and then we start talking about the next step.
I think it's safe to say that we really get to know the people that we are participating in these projects with. We get to know what they really need and as a community, what's really important to them. And so I think having that information and allowing them to be part of the process in selecting these projects that we do with our students, it makes it a really fruitful and a collaborative environment.
Once the diagnostic process has been completed and we've determined the level of need, we have a rubric based on points, and we conduct that survey at a household level with the community leaders. And based on the points, that's how we determine with the community leadership, hey, you know what, this is an obvious top priority, they have the most points, and so on and so forth.
Once the beneficiary of our project is chosen, what we do is we come up with a contract with that community, basically saying that based on the different resources of the community or maybe what they do have to contribute in relation to the project, 7E will do so much and then they will have to do that much as well. And we try to be consistent with that because that consistency is how we maintain and develop really strong partner relations.
Seven Elements has a very specific set of projects that we serve the community with. One of these projects is the bottle house. Okay, a typical bottle house is between 9,000 and 12,000 bottles. Using the bottles is great. It has insulation factors. I think the biggest factor and the most obvious is its ability to just clean those 9,000 bottles up. What you see is people throw out, you'll be driving along and you'll just see people throw bottles out. Okay, so they don't really understand the idea of thousands of years for plastic to decompose. Another thing that we do is we build communal water tanks. A lot of times remote communities do not have access to water in general. They may have to send their kids and walk a mile to go to the river with a 5-gallon bucket and fill up water. And what that does, that pushes the kids out of school and they're kind of stuck in that generational poverty and they're just always doing chores for their parents until they're adults.
To Seven Elements, the importance of sustainability and sustainable projects, I think, really goes down to the core of our organization's vision. Sustainability, I think, can be defined so many different ways, but for us, the footprint that we leave on the communities and also on our students. We want our projects, we want our community activities, we want the things that we teach our students to always be revolving around sustainability and having a cognizance of of the way that you're impacting other people, whether it's resources, whether it's their time. And I think that keeping that in mind is how 7E grows in a responsible way, and also continues to enrich the lives of both our students and our partnering communities.
So when we're volunteerists, or we've got participants coming down for a service learning experience, there are some potential ethical concerns with projects, and we do a lot to meet those. For example, the first day of every program, we have a 20 to 30 minute discussion on community ethics. And in that, we talk about things like dress code. We talk about how to conduct ourselves and who we're representing. We talk about not taking photos because we wouldn't want someone doing that in our own backyard.
Service learning, by definition, is a dual development activity. We'll put down on paper what we're going to do, and that's exactly what we do. But again, it's in reciprocation for allowing us to come and learn.
It is important to educate the students before they go into the communities, because we want to make sure that we maintain a positive relationship with the communities that we're entering into. And so instead of the students coming in and taking on their American persona, we give them a little bit more information so that they can relate more and respect the community that they're entering. It is important to educate the students beyond the service that they do, because we want to be able to make sure that they can take home a lesson and values and skills, and not just let them think that they have to do it in an international area. So we take it beyond the service learning project because we want them to have the skills necessary to take it back home.
We would like to teach students that sometimes their good intentions are not so good. Sometimes their good intentions hurt or harm the community, the individual, or small businesses. We also want to teach the students about the 7 elements of human security and how they're all interconnected.
I think we're different because of a common theme in all of our programs. It's education. Education should be the service, but it's all about the education. We're taking kids and young university and high school students. They're very tired, but in the evening we have the lectures. It's imperative that they learn. It's a very intense educational process taken very, very seriously. So we have a multitude of programs. We have global health programs, we have international development programs, we have sustainability programs, we have a sports program, a 10-day program that's more designed for service. We have programs in 4 different countries, all with a common theme that we'll learn to assess communities with using that 7 elements model.
The IDI program, it stands for the International Development Initiative. The whole goal for it was to show high school students what international development looks like in the Dominican Republic. So basically throughout the program we visited local NGOs, we went to the Capitol, and we visited some really cool organizations. And then we've also done hands-on community work with our 7 Elements projects.
The Global Health Initiative programs are divided in 2 sections. The first one is public health and the second one is clinic. The public health is related with sanitation, water sanitation projects as water tanks, water filter distribution or others. And the clinic part of the GHI programs is all the clinic activities in communities as clinical brigades, activities in hospitals or local clinics, as well the Healthy Children program / vitamin distribution.
The Caribbean Service Adventure is a 10-day program. It's usually the beginner course for students who've never left home before, who are interested in international development or interested in service learning, but not sure what focus they want to go into. So maybe they're not sure they want to go into health, maybe they're not sure they want to learn about the International Development Initiative. And so this is like an entry-level course to kind of get everyone interested and learning and engaging in service learning.
A 7 Elements chapter is a student-led initiative which will expose your university to an ethical service learning program. The process to start a chapter is to contact 7 Elements, and we'll help talk with your school administration on how to start up a club at your school. It's really important to start a 7 Elements chapter because it's so sustainable. There are a lot of organizations and clubs at your universities that require you to travel abroad and volunteer. But 7 Elements wants to challenge these clubs and universities. We want to redirect the attention on community ethics, on professional development, personal growth, and also the university's learning objectives.
What makes 7 Elements special is that they use the 7 Elements of Human Security model that was designed by the United Nations in 1994, and it's a really great model for doing sustainable work and sustainable impacts, and that's what really puts 7 Elements apart from other NGOs and nonprofits. They're really mindful about the impact that they make and how they make that impact, which I really personally loved, and that's one of the reasons why I came back, is learning about sustainable impacts and how we go into communities and allow them to experience with us and learn with us, but also grow as a community, which I really love.
And if you go and you talk to other organizations here, a lot of times they just come down, they're here for a month, so they just walk into the community and say, hey, I know what you need. And we're not like that. We're here year round, we're in the communities regularly. We are really focusing on being very responsible within the communities.
7 Elements is special because it's teaching the students how improve the leadership skills, and they open new windows for them in terms of understand the developing countries' issues and how improve it, how apply the 7 Element models in their own town and have a direct impact in the people.
I think that international service learning can do harm to the communities, and 7 Elements is willing to stand up and talk about these potential harms and try to minimize them as much as possible.
It's a one-shot deal with these students. They can come and they can learn, and they can take something back of value, or they can go back home and pat themselves on the back and never to be seen again. I don't believe we should allow that to happen. I think it's a brilliant opportunity to take a young student and develop a good global citizen and a problem solver.